April here, and my friend and racing partner Jen Fratzke and I want to paddle the Yukon 1000. I'm going to enjoy this warm sunshine while I let that settle in. It's the longest paddle race on Earth, and it's going to be in July 2020. When I say we want to paddle it, I'd like to clarify that I never in a million years thought that it would even be on my bucket list. It wasn't even on my radar, but it was on Jen's.
And I was actually sitting having coffee with a friend early last year, had to have been about February, and he's like, oh, I'm doing the Yukon 1000 this year, and I was like, what's that? Then he starts to tell me about this whole water tribe of people that race ultra long distance races, and I kind of just, I don't know what, just like kind of set a fire in me.
She's motivated, she's fully committed, and I have her to thank for getting me into this whole thing. We actually go way back. We both used to ride for Hobie during the SUP boom. I kept racing stand-up paddleboards and recently finished up my first run on the APP World Tour as World Runner-Up. I know, you're surprised. You didn't even know there was a World Tour for stand-up paddling. Anywho, while I was racing in pools all around the world, Jen really dove deep into the ultra-distance paddling world. And it's a whole new group, a whole new vibe, and a completely different beast. She's already competed in the MR340 and the Yukon River Quest. She also recently launched a podcast called 90% Mental about ultra-distance paddling adventures, and she's got way more experience than I do so far in the really, really, really long paddle department.
It was an MR340, and I said, okay, this is doable, we're gonna go do this. Well, I didn't realize logistics wise what actually went into doing something like that. So yeah, the whole process of it, the whole training, I mean, obviously it's very different. You can't, go off the start and give it your 100%, because you have to last, over time. And from what I remember, I think more than once I said I'm never doing this again. And then at the end, it's funny because about within 24 hours after you finish, you're already thinking okay, what did I do wrong? What could I do better? What am I going to do different next year? So it was pretty cool. I think that was what really was okay, now I'm going to start doing this.
Before you can even consider entering the Yukon 1000, you have to find someone willing to be your partner. Someone else crazy enough to dedicate an entire year or more to preparing to paddle 1,000 miles. And not just paddle it, but race it, as fast as you can finish it. As with most modern adventures, this one started with a not-so-innocent Facebook post.
So when I first posted that, I guess what I was thinking was I definitely wanted to, this is going to sound super cocky, but it's not what I mean by it, but I was kind of almost taking application because trust me, I had a whole bunch of different types of personalities. I got people that I promise you don't even paddle, and I'm just no. First of all, I want to find someone that I think I get along with. You have 10 days to complete it, so I definitely didn't want to do it with someone who I didn't think that it would be a good match. Then I was also just seeing who was interested, period, because I thought, I wonder if anyone's going to want to do this kind of thing with me.
I guess apparently at one point in the last year, I was flipping through Facebook. Jen, obviously being one of our friends, having supported her and April on her first inaugural Wild Buffalo Relay on the support boat, heading from Catalina to Newport. I thought they were a pretty good dynamic, a very good team. I decided I was going to be funny, which if anyone follows me, very few of you do, I'm not that funny. I just think I am. I posted, "Take my wife, please." Little truth and jest on the internet, and now she signed up for the Yukon 1000.
I needed to go for a paddle and clear my head. I was flying back from a competition when I said yes to my husband's wisecrack comments and Jen's request. I was having some serious doubts, and there was still time to back out. Can I paddle 1,000 miles, let alone 100 miles? Do I even want to? I started reading stories of infected blisters and fingernails that just fall off for no good reason. But I came to a realization. a reason why I really do want to try. And just the act of signing up for the Yukon 1000, right? Like, I thought the Yukon 1000 was going to be the thing that made me strong. But honestly, just signing up for it has made me realize that I'll have to be strong before I get there. Seems like the decision is made. Two crazy chicks willing to lose fingernails have decided to paddle the Yukon 1000 together. But it's not that easy. You have to get accepted. This is gonna be awesome. I'm in!
No way! Oh my gosh, I'm so excited!
Yay!
Okay, so we have to fill out an application though. So even though you're in,
What?
we've got to apply.
What is this application?
So it's basically they want to know what our experiences in racing and probably long distance stuff, and mainly they want to figure out what our backcountry experience is. So make sure that we know how to handle hypothermia, of course, bears.
Okay.
Yeah,
Don't have a lot of bear experience. That's interesting.
Yeah, me neither. But I think between the two of us, I mean, we've had a lot of race experience, so I think we have a good chance.
Well, we've got that California River Quest 100 coming up soon. We found the application online and filled it out super early. I didn't have much ultra distance experience outside of the Holland 11 Cities Tour in Chattajack over 6 years ago. Jen had recently completed the MR 340, and we both had some wilderness experience, but we were unsure that it would be enough to sway the registration committee. One thing we knew for sure, they'd be looking at our performance at the California River Quest 100-mile race.
Gonna drown. For some reason, I'm nervous about the rapids, and I've been in, crazy open ocean swell, and it doesn't, it scares me, but I'm comfortable with it. So, so that's a challenge for sure. And then obviously getting tired. I mean, it happens. You don't know when it's gonna happen. It's different every race.
I have never paddled 100 consecutive miles in my entire life. I have no idea what is going to happen. I think it's gonna be horrible. Just what will be will be. I'm gonna go with the flow.
I hope you do. It's a river.
I just picked this boat up. I just got it on the water today for about 15 minutes. I've never been in a Voyager canoe before, so I'm nervous that it doesn't have a rudder, and I'm nervous that there's no outrigger. Yeah, but I'm excited about it. I just, like I said, I'm doing this race to see what goes wrong, because I'd rather it go wrong here than go wrong in the Yukon. So.
I need to know what 100 miles feels like if we're going to learn what 1,000 miles feels like. You know what? Go big or go home. I might end up going home. But I'm gonna go big first.
Bye-bye, April.
Bye, husband.
Good luck. See you in 100 miles. Minute 0.
It's backwards. It's backwards.
It's okay, you'll paddle backwards. You walk down that way.
We both had really big challenges to face the day of the 100-miler. Mine was just doing my first consecutive 100 miles, which was scary, but with the current, I knew it was doable. Jen, on the other hand, had a much bigger challenge. She was in a completely new craft, charging the distance, the rapids, and activating new muscles. I was in awe of her bravery. Some might not see it as brave, but that's why we'll make a good team. Better to go big, fail hard, and learn some lessons in a controlled environment. It makes you much stronger, much faster. Our results that day were polar opposites, especially of what we expected going into the race. I was the first to cross the line, winning the race and my first 100-mile effort in 10 hours and 50 minutes. Jen, new to her boat, flipped in both sets of rapids and had a difficult call to make.
I'm about 27 miles into this 100-mile race. I do a little update. At about mile 15, I flipped my canoe, and that was not fun because it was in the rapids and I was floating in like 45-degree water. My boyfriend and I talked about, the possibility of me not finishing if something were to happen, and it's better to be safe than sorry, and that's kind of how I feel right now. Luckily I have this space blanket here. I don't have a change of clothes. It's a little embarrassing because I'm obviously naked under this, and I'm gonna go ahead and call the race.
With our Yukon 1000 application pending, our only question at this point was how would this impact the race committee's decision? Would they let us in to go for our goal, or would they see us as a liability without enough experience to tackle such a daunting distance race? All we could do now was wait for the email with their decision.